Kia ora mai, ko Mike Atkinson tēnei. This presentation is looking at the compass, an overview of the compass. The compass has been around for a very long time, almost 1,000 years, used by the Chinese first in navigating, and still a very useful device in the outdoors, simple technology, cheap, and used in conjunction with newer digital devices. It's a very good skill set to have and to keep. There are a number of different types of compasses you can buy, but for navigating using a topographical map in the outdoors, the best, or the only type of compass really that you need is a base plate or one with an adjustable dial. So the base plate is this rectangle plastic base that the compass sits on, and the adjustable dial is also known as the bezel here. So you need to have one of these. Now, the differences here between these two here are really is the longer base plate here, which is much better for taking bearings and measuring distances than the shorter one here. And then this one over here is again the next step up, which has a needle in here that you can adjust the declination without having to add or subtract, and has a sighting mirror as well, which makes life a bit easier for taking bearings, but they are a bit more expensive, around $100 for these ones and around $50 for these ones. So just going to look at some terminology for different parts of the compass. The first one we talked about is the base plate. The second one is a dial or the bezel, all right, which is the round dial that can turn in different directions. The magnetic needle is the needle in here that usually has one half of it in red and the other in black, and the red always points to magnetic north, no matter how you rotate the compass. Orientating arrow is usually an arrow. This one doesn't have an arrow, but it's this arrow here that an arrow would sit where this green dots are. And then the orientating lines are the lines, these black lines here that are parallel with each other. The index line here is the marker where you read the bearings. So the bearing is from 0 to 360 degrees on the bezel, and that's this little mark here is where you read the bearing from. Some compasses have read the bearing there. Direction of travel arrow. This arrow here has is the direction of travel arrow, so that points in the direction they should be following. Just taking a closer look at the base plate of the compass here, and you notice that there are a bunch of different numbers written on the different parts of the base plate. So along the top here is just a straight ruler in millimeters, and it starts from the end of the compass here, top of the compass, to there is 10 millimeters, 20 millimeters, 30 millimeters, and so on. So that's in millimeters, or 10 millimeters is 1 centimeter. Down the bottom, you'll see they've converted it for a 1 to 50,000 map, which is the most common topographical map you'll find in the outdoors. And again, from the top of the compass here through to the 1, there just before the 1 is 1 kilometer. From that 1 to the next big indent is 2 kilometers. Now each of these marks is 100 meters, all right, so you can measure quite accurately without having to convert your centimeters to meters or kilometers in the field. On the top here they have a scale for a map for a 1 to 25,000 map. And they're not so common in the outdoors. So just have a look at your compass and just check which one you've got, and get used to the different measurements that are very useful. One other feature on the base plate, most base plates have, is this here, which is a magnifying glass, which is just enlarges a section of the map that you may want to look to in detail. Just some key features about using a compass. So just remember that the needle in the middle of the bezel always points, the red part of the needle always points to magnetic north, no matter how you rotate it. keep your compasses, or beware how when you're using a compass to keep it away from metal, other compasses and digital devices, and even some rock types. They can affect the magnetic field of the compass and how it operates. So just be wary of that. And when you're using the compass, hold the compass flat and in front of you. And we'll go into more detail on how to take a bearing, how to follow a bearing later on. Around the Earth is a magnetic field, and that magnetic field converges downwards at the magnetic North Pole, which is situated in the Arctic Ocean, just near Greenland. If you are in New Zealand down here, then true north is straight up, which is basically the geographical centre of the Earth. Magnetic north is 23.5 degrees to the east of true north. Right, so magnetic north is different than true north, and we'll also look at grid north in another video. So we'll look at this more in depth. It is changes every position, by half a degree every 19 years, and this information can be found on a topographical map near the key or the legend. Haere rā.